Welcome to my dear Ladies Who Lunch Conversation viewers. Today I'm very excited to welcome our guest, Maria Morris. Welcome, Maria. Cheers to you. Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
yeah. So I first became enchanted with Maria and what she does. We were at the Pennsylvania Horticultural Societies, many people know as the Philadelphia Flower Show. It's like the oldest and biggest in the country. And we were there for the press preview the first day, and on the second day we went just to meander and see all the attendees and what they look for. So Bill and I went around, and when we walked in the front the second day, everyone was very, I would say, they were sitting mesmerized, watching some of PlantPop, the company that Maria works with, watching some of these plant videos. So what Maria does is let me just read a little bit of background here. She works full time for PlantPop. It's a horticultural film studio. So I'm sure that's probably the first time that any of you have heard of that. She spends her time creating short and feature length films that explore the relationship between people and plants. And it's a long and healthy one. With a background in documentary filmmaking and a passion for storytelling, Maria travels widely to capture the voices of growers, gardeners, breeders, and plant enthusiasts. Did I capture that?
Yeah, that's
We
that's
got that good? All right. So, first I want to ask, how did you get into plants? Are you a horticulturist? Were you a horticulturist? Like for many of us, I mean, of course, you could see even here, I did a little, tribute to Maria, just her first film. We're going to get into that. And I did put a link on Facebook. Her first feature-length documentary film is called Daylily. So we've got a couple of daylilies in her homage here. But most people are attracted to blossoms and flowers and things because of the sheer beauty of it, but others for medicinal reasons, cultural reasons. Ethnobotany is, huge. But how did you get into plants and which came first?
yeah, so I actually do not have a background with plants at all. The filmmaking came first. I have always wanted to do documentary film and have a passion for storytelling in that way. And I didn't realize this was an option to do
I
plant
know.
film. So when I discovered Plant Pop, I was, pleasantly surprised. And I just, you know, through working with them and getting to meet all these different people who have the passion for plants and get to work with them on a daily basis, I've become so much more inspired to,
Yeah.
have some plants in my apartment or, notice a lot more plants just throughout my day. And that's something that is talked about in Daylily as well, just being able to recognize that beauty in just everyday things. And um, that is definitely something I've learned through working with Plant Pop and getting to speak with gardeners and,
Mm.
um, different sides of horticulture.
Not to dwell on it, but what did you create films for prior or previous to making the plant-based films?
Yeah, it was a variety, I was freelance mainly, so I would do films for my local church.
Mm.
I captured some sporting events and, assisted in some other projects for some
Yeah.
people, and, so it was just a different variety of
Yeah.
things, but then, finding Plant Pop really showed me,
The
what
reason why I ask is I mean, I think sports maybe might have that same kind of passion besides religion, I guess. But for many people, plants and horticulture is a religion. So you won't find many categories where there are people that are just crazy for plants. But so, so talking about the plant films that you make, how long does it take? How do you create it? Like maybe give us an idea of how you plot this out. A day in the life, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah, well, for the feature lengths, it's quite longer, so it'll be about a 2-year long process. You know, um, I'll be working with pre-production typically in the winter months, and then I'll plan it out so that I'm filming all throughout the spring and summer. And then again, editing will take, fall and winter time frame. So I'm always planning out the year so that I can take advantage of the peak blooms and everything
Mhm.
like that. And actually, how I came about doing Daylily and my next feature length film on roses, my boss Art, who created PlantPop,
His
he
name is Art.
Art Parkerson, yes.
That's hilarious because one of the key differentials that PlantPop talks about is making these films and videos about plants as art, as a cultural significance, rather than just how-to videos. So the fact that he's elevating plant films to an art form, and his name is Art, I just think that's perfect. Sorry.
Right? Yeah, well, it's funny how that worked out,
Yeah,
and
cheers to
yeah,
that.
he created PlantPop over 10 years ago, and I've only been working with them for 3 years, so, yeah, so, he has these ideas that he comes to me with for the feature lengths, and, he wanted to do Daylily for a really long time, so, he had this vision to do a feature length on daylilies and, show that
Do you know
larger.
why he wanted to do daylilies first?
um For the first feature length, it's just been something that's always been on his mind. He wanted to show that, he knew that there was this big community that really loved daylilies, and
Mhm.
also, you know, being able to show that, this plant blooms for only one day. So it really has this deeper meaning
Mm,
of, being able to appreciate every day that comes and appreciate our own lives in that way.
that's beautiful.
And those small moments and, they mentioned the ditch lily and how you see these orange daylilies all over and like in ditches and they just spread. But it'll show in the film that even those lilies are appreciated and noticed. And I think that reflects on us a lot as people. So
Yeah, that's
um,
beautiful. That's beautiful. And just to point out to the viewers that over your right shoulder, I think, is the poster for the film. So the Daylily. And I also, like I said, put it into the intro so you can see the trailer for it. But that's a beautiful thought behind the plants, how it makes you appreciate life more, you know. So do you plot out the storyline itself, or does it sort of come to you when you're on site and filming?
So it's kind of a mixture of both. I will have an outline, an idea of how things can go and the type of people that I'm looking for. And then as things come along and as I meet more people, things definitely change. And I mean, even in the editing process, the story can kind of change a bit. But overall, the main themes and ideas are still there. But with documentary and with real stories, people will always surprise you and
Mhm.
in so many good ways. So I always leave room for some flexibility there because
Mhm.
you never know what type of people you might run into, or you could talk to somebody over Zoom, but then you get to see them in their element in the garden, and then they might say something that's really surprising. So there's always room for changing throughout the process, but
Yeah, that's true, I think, and with the plant people, because one thing about gardeners, or they can't wait to show off. You know, people will often say, "You should have been here last week," or "Come
Mhm.
next week." But part of the joy, I mean, even here at our country house, at our front border, people make a point. It was almost like a destination for them to come and see. And when they compliment you, you just feel like, oh, your heart is bursting. So I say that's why we plant it, to share with everyone the beauty of it.
For
So,
sure.
let me ask you before we go on, because I want to know more about the making of it. But do you consider the films entertainment or education?
I think it could be both. I mean, we definitely like to focus on keeping the stories very positive and inspirational in that way, but also getting to teach a few things about hybridizing or, how to design and get to see that perspective as well. So I do think it's a bit of a mixture. And we do run into so many interesting, fun people that I think it definitely ends up being very entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Now Maria told me, and putting this conversation together, but I said to her just before we came on, she's as busy as I am with meaningful projects, not busy work, but you travel a lot. So, a couple of things with that I want to ask about is, do you choose the places that you'll travel to based on their blooming cycles or for the cultural significance of the plants? Like, how do you choose where you travel to? What is that based on?
Mhm. Yeah, so I choose when during mostly on the blooming cycles and when the best time would be, and also depending on who I'm filming and when their availability is. But yeah, throughout my research, I'll come across maybe specific stories or cultural significance in a certain area, and then I'll go from there and get to pinpoint. Sometimes there's a connection through our network where they know
Mm.
someone who would be perfect for the story or have something significant to share. I was just in Colombia for the Rose Film, and
Oh, nice.
I got to go to a farm there and get to see the behind the scenes of how the cut flower industry works. And I got to go to the airport and see the packaging and everything. So that was really cool to work out for this film because we definitely want to see all the hard work that brings the roses to any bouquet that you might receive and get to see all the hands that got to touch it before it got to you. So
Agreed. For many years in the winter, I worked in Ecuador, and it was a big rose grower, and Colombia and Ecuador being right next to each other. So it's fascinating to see. And one of the things that I've written about in later years is how, I don't know if they still do it, but the US government at customs, when all the roses came in, they had to slap all the flowers. So I think the title of it was, do you know your roses have been slapped? But to help identify, I guess, if there's pathogens or critters or something that's on there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but good for you for being in Colombia. Where else did you travel for the roses?
I've been Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. I was just
Um,
in Virginia, um, and yeah, I've filmed a bit in New York and Pennsylvania, um, and yeah,
do the people that you interview, are they, after some time now, will they seek you out and come to you, or is it always based on your research and you ask them?
It's mainly based on my research and reaching out. There does get to a point sometimes where I've talked to enough people where sometimes people will come to me and say, "I heard you're doing this project. I want to see how I can get involved," which is always a really positive thing. Some people, even if they're not on camera, would like to just, tell me a person that would be great for it or give me some piece of information that might be helpful. So, the community in horticulture is just incredible. Everyone is just so willing to share and just happy to share and want to get the word out and get to tell these stories. So I just think, it's really lovely when people approach me about it as well.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's
mainly through my research is how I find people. And you mentioned travel too. I plan to be in the UK and not only me traveling, but I will also hire some filmmakers who, are in other countries and send me the footage. So sometimes it'll be
okay.
really helpful for them
That's great.
to, already have the connections and then, get to go film and send some footage to me as well, so
That's great. I was going to ask you if it's solo or do you have a team that works with you? So that's great. That's great.
yeah,
Oh,
so the for the team aspect, sometimes it'll be just me on set, but we have, my boss Art and producer Laura, and we have a network of filmmakers who are contracted for different things. So, while a lot of the time I will be working solo, there's definitely a network of people that I can ask for help when I need it.
um, I'm jumping ahead here, but it seems appropriate that one of my questions was in an era of, I mean, your film Daylily came out in 2025. So, right? That's correct. So I
Yeah.
want to ask, in a time when cinemas are having a difficult time getting people to come and see, action films or indie films and, that, represent, political things, how do you get people to attend and go to a theater, on plants? I mean, most people would say like, oh,
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely, we've been trying different things, trying to, using social media and connecting with different gardening groups as well.
oh,
So,
that's
the
good.
premiere for Daylily was actually at the same time as the National Daylily Convention.
Oh,
So we had lots of passionate people in the theater for that. And, get it's great to be in a room full of people who just really get it,
yeah,
and then we had a separate screening that people came to just from the community, and that was great to see too. But we definitely are trying to look for different ways to connect with people and get the word out that Plant Pop even exists because, we are always trying to find different ways to get people to come. And like you said, I mean, sometimes people don't always want to come out to the theater. And we also are online to see them, but it's always a cool experience when everyone gets together, laughs together, and
yeah.
experiences in the
Gets
theater.
excited together, brings the community is a key word there. So
Mhm.
how, you said it's online, so how can the viewers access Daylily and then going ahead to Rosa?
So it's actually gonna be, out Plant Pop TV, but it's not out yet, it will be out for rent. Um, I don't have an exact date for that yet, but,
Okay.
I could maybe reach out to you later and send it to you, but, so it will eventually be on, Plant Pop TV, which is our streaming service.
That would be great, so that people can enjoy and see it, if they missed it when it was in their local cinema. So we can talk later about helping to promote it because I think, again, with gardeners trying to show off and see, and I know how popular Garden Conservancy with the garden tours are, but to see this elevated to such an art form, I mean, for folks, I hope you do watch the trailer and also go to Plant Pop and see. But I started crying when I saw some of these time lapse videos, and to see the majesty and the nobility of a plant opening is it's really life changing, how you do that. So I'm going to go back a click and ask how you got in, learn filmmaking and then how that maybe amplified or changed how you worked with plants because um, it's a different way of filming. It's not, watching a running quarterback or, a golf play or something like that. It takes a lot of time to show.
For sure, and I do wanna mention, so you mentioned the time lapse, we actually do have a photographer, in Virginia at the studio who he just is constantly putting plants in and, get capturing that. So I don't touch the time lapse photography, but, we have a very talented, photographer, Clayton, who does that. But for learning filmmaking and how it's kind of different with plants, there definitely was a little bit of an adjustment, and I think, my background with filmmaking, I graduated from Penn State, with film degree, and, that background definitely helped me and all of my experience. I worked at a, kids camp actually, and working outside and, running around with that was really, helpful right before I went into Plant Pop, just getting to film outside all the time. But, with filming plants, there's definitely, a different way to approach it, and I think it was a lot of trial and error at first, and also, Art, my boss, like I mentioned, he definitely has taught me a lot when it comes to how to view a plant and, you know, and some of the other people that worked at the farm, my horticultural producer, Kendall, with Daylily, she's also taught me, how to make it look pretty, how to,
Mhm.
deadhead things around
Yeah.
and focus on certain aspects of it and be able to look at it through a different lens because I know, like, there's a lot of, like, blindness, I guess, like, you don't
Yes.
get to see the differences and everything, and that's something I had to adjust to too, where I had to do a lot of research on how to specifically identify a daylily. I captured a bunch of daylilies that are just kind of at a gas station or wherever. I drive around and have to spot them. And I did not know how to do that before, but I had to adjust to kind of be able to spot it. And now I can't unsee it. I just spot them
Mhm.
everywhere. So, um, yeah, it's definitely a learning process to be able to, look at plants a little bit differently, but then once I got there, it's definitely improved the way I view things in general, so, and in my daily life, so, um and yeah, and getting to see the beauty, like you said, like, just getting to watch, like, the time lapse and everything,
Mhm.
um it really amplifies what you can see in a plant, so, yeah, it's been really a pleasure.
Oh, wonderful. And I think you're at the right place at the right time for people understanding that plants are sentient beings. And I don't want to go too far off there, but it's just so much more in the, the cultural zeitgeist right now with a number of, books and, um, some of the things that I've written about when the forest breathes and how plants have kin, how they communicate, how they move, how they
Mhm.
think. That's why I talk about their lifestyle customs. They have a language, but it's very different. So the fact that you're able to bring that kind of communication, people to plants relationship, I think people are hungering for this kind of, knowledge and, like I said, entertainment, at the same time. So it sort of made me think, whose story are you telling? Or is it both? Is it the grower or is it the plant?
So, we actually use the plants to show, the stories kinda behind them. So, the plant is the main character kind of, like,
Okay.
especially in Daylily. But all the people, that are enjoying them and work with them, they really become the story and the way it flows. So, you know, being able to center the film around daylilies, but then you realize the community behind it and, all of the people bring out and let the plant shine, I think, and show why they're important and why, you know, why they're important, the people as well, so and through the plant. So, there's a lot of different approaches through it, but
Mhm.
we definitely focus on the people a lot, and be able to show all of the hard work that goes behind them, and, when you see a garden, there's so many people that have put so much effort in designing it and, being able to make sure that the plants are set up in a certain way so that, they can thrive more and, look more beautiful. So, um, a lot of the people definitely have made this film, and I wanna mention even behind the scenes, all of the people that weren't necessarily on camera, but they have
Mhm.
helped, so with Daylily, the large community they have, they all could tell me, "Go see this person, go see this person,"
Yeah.
and even just, like, fact checking historical stuff, like, everybody was so happy to help, and so the people have really made this film what it is, and, um, yeah, I really appreciated all of the people who wanted to, continuously give me advice and, like, different, gardens to go to and different people to see. So, and yeah, the stories that they told and, being vulnerable at some points too, really helped guide this story to what it was as well, so.
Isn't that wonderful? It's like they're all little plant parents in a way and,
Mhm.
showcasing their plant. So we're of all your travels so far, you mentioned that you went to Colombia and China, Europe. So do you have, I mean, what's up next? I mean, Rosa is your next film, is that right?
Yes, working title, but the next film is on roses, and yeah, I'm planning to be in the Netherlands and in England, in Canada, um, and we'll see where else I end up. But and you know, there's lots of things in the works with this, so I'm really excited. And of course, you know, more states in the U.S. I'll be in California, and yeah, just so many different stories. And with the Rose film, we really are trying to show how this plant really connects us in the world.
Mhm.
We see it at every moment in life, from celebrations and weddings to funerals, to you know Valentine's Day. It shows up in so many places, and we typically don't think about, like I mentioned, the grower or the packaging and all that
Yeah.
comes with getting these roses to you, or even, you know, being able to enjoy it in a garden, and all the different varieties that come, and trying to make them more resilient so that they can last longer in front of your house or wherever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's lots of different aspects to this film, and I'm really excited because it is definitely something that has been described as, you know, the ideal beauty is a rose. A lot of people say
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
So,
in literature, you know, poetry. I mean, it's a universal. I think it's the official flower of the United States, but it's definitely a global plant favorite. You know, I
mhm.
recently started making my own fragrances, and I took classes from Grass in France and roses. Yeah, it really is. I'm loving it so much. But roses are just universally appreciated, you know.
Mm,
Maybe at some point you can even, I'm just thinking while you were talking that, you know, I was always fascinated by how when there's world events, you know, the dais or the table, there's always a floral arrangement to mark and celebrate whatever peace treaty or event or something, but
mhm,
flowers have that floral language, you know, and have all that
mhm.
significance. So I'm like putting it, maybe you would like to do that. Is there an ideal length of your films? Do you know, like, at what point that people, you know, sort of click off or that they want more?
You know, as far as, you know, when people are clicking off, I'm not sure exactly what that metric would be, but for this film, for the feature lengths, there'll be over an hour, about 80 or 90 minutes will be this one. The other ones, there's a lot of short films to watch as well, you know, ranging from like 5 to 10 minutes to 30 minutes. So I think that people could definitely find something that they're looking for if they want to find a short film to quickly go through, or be able to sit in a story a little bit longer. So there's
Mhm.
definitely a variety with PlantPop overall.
And just for the viewers, so you know that the distinction here, and I hope that came through in the introduction and on the page, is that these aren't how-to videos, even though that could
Mm.
encompass, you know, some of the narration, but it's more the art of the horticulture and of the plant and the flower. If you were talking to a young woman trying to, you know, say, "Oh, I'm a filmmaker, but I never knew I could do this," you know, much like you, what would you suggest based on your experience, like how to, you know, and enter the field, so to speak?
I love this question. So I definitely came from a background of like, just always being called shy, not really putting myself out there much, and I definitely think sometimes if that is you, like, if you're young and, you know, always called shy and don't really know, aren't sure about what you wanna do and everything, that might mean you're a good listener, or, you know,
Mm,
there's so many things that you are capable of that you just don't really realize at the moment, you know?
yep.
And I definitely, didn't see myself directing films, like, realistically, like, that was my dream, but I didn't know if it was possible. So Um, I just think that there's so many opportunities when you can really like push yourself and believe in yourself. So I guess for anyone trying to get into film, find your niche and passion. I didn't realize that plants was an option for me, but I learned a lot, and I kept learning throughout this whole process and still am. Um, so there's definitely a place to find what you want to do in filmmaking and documentary, and finding new passions in it as well. So yeah, that's what I would say.
That's good. So would they pick up the camera or do they go to school?
Yeah, def I would say pick up the camera before you even are going to a school. If you're not in a school, do it on the side. If you want to do like start with wedding videos or anything, like just keep at it. It doesn't matter if you think it's bad in the moment, like just keep going and keep having that trial and error because um, you know, that's the only way that you can keep growing and learning is if you continuously are making films um and getting that feedback too. Like I would always ask for feedback because that's like
Mm,
something I think I shied away from at first,
mm,
but it's so helpful just getting people to watch and then tell you like how it's being perceived as well. So
that's a good point. Do you have at this point a favorite plant and a favorite destination that you've been to that you visited?
oh, that's so difficult actually.
I know, that's
Um,
why I ask.
yeah. Hmm. I don't know. I at the moment, I feel like my favorite plant becomes what I'm working with. So like at the moment it's roses because
Mm,
I have to be obsessed with it to be doing a film on it. So I feel like it's roses at the moment.
yeah.
Favorite place, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could choose. Probably China. I think that was really cool. I was my sister-in-law's from China and she translated for
Oh,
me while I was there.
ah,
Um, and I got to go to a Daylily farm where they were eating them, and so they weren't really focusing on the bloom, but they were eating them, and so it was really unique and cool experience to go there.
all right. When I was in China, we had the opportunity. It was just my family and I that went together. My niece speaks Chinese, so it was great. Uh, but we went to Suzhou, like the garden area. Where did you go in China, or did you go all over?
Well, I was starting. It was kind of near Chengdu, but it was about like 4 or 6 hours from Chengdu. I cannot remember exactly the town that it was,
That's okay.
but
It's a big country.
yeah, I was mainly staying in near Chengdu and then kind of traveling from there because that's
Yeah,
where she's
yeah.
from.
When I worked at Brooklyn, the Botanic Garden there, and they would ask the president, "What's your favorite flower?" So I'll pass this on to you. The one I just passed, because it is very difficult to pick one.
Right.
But I like to say to people, gardens and plants, I think, help ennoble as well as enable people to live with the seasons and how important that is and that
Mhm.
plant pollinator connection. So I say eat with the seasons, drink with the seasons. So in that vein, do you have a favorite cocktail?
Oh, I don't. I don't know. I'm
I
not
think
sure. What's
like
yours?
a summer drink. Well, it used to be martinis, so that was fun. But
Okay.
my mother and her friend are coming over, and strawberries just came into view. So I'm going to make um, a strawberry rum drink for them. It's not really a daiquiri per se, but so whatever's in season, at the time. So soon we'll have our blueberries from the blueberry bushes, the passion
Oh,
flower, that kind of thing. So there's a beauty in drinking with what is fresh from the garden. So I say garden to glass, that's when I wrote a book, The Art of the Garnish, so I have to, do that.
no.
Is there a favorite floral fragrance that you have?
Hmm. I don't know. I maybe lavender. I think that's.
That's the
can
beauty. Yeah, it's
see.
very
It's
calming, it's
yeah.
beautiful in so many ways. So I have 2 last questions because believe it or not, we're just running so over, but I could keep talking to you. You're so interesting and your work is so fascinating. So I appreciate that. But so I want to ask about the Pop Plant Film Festival. It comes
Yeah.
up every year. Now I see other shorts that are in there. So how do you figure into the film festival?
Yeah, I haven't personally been as involved with the film festival, because, I've been working on the feature lengths and kind of
Mhm.
focusing on that. But we have, like I said, we have a huge network of filmmakers around the world, and they do fantastic work with the short films. And every year it's always just beautiful to be able to get together and look at the films and see the other filmmakers. And this year it'll be in Virginia in November, and anyone can submit. And it's not just documentaries. I believe they have a narrative experimental category, but so yeah, it's really interesting to get
Yeah.
to view all of it at once and in the theater setting as well.
I love it. So I'll put the link in, the overview once it goes up. But, there's growers and florists in France and, a home, urban grower in their garden, I should say. And it's just to see their passion and tell the stories, the plants, they're just absolutely beautiful. And you can, submit and create your own category as well. So we can sort of pass that on. Um, I'm going to put up some of your the ways that people can contact you. So this is where Maria works at PlantPop. That's their Instagram that you can follow. But what do you see as the future? Like, what's your future? Like, what do you see coming up? There's so many ways you can use plant vocabulary.
Yeah, I mean, what's upcoming for the future, with PlantPop, we are, trying to release a new feature length every year, and that wouldn't just be me, so we're, having some other filmmakers working on feature lengths as well. Um, and in 2027, the Rose film will be released, so I'll be focusing on, um, wrapping up production around August, so then I'll be in the editing process, and by next spring, we'll be able to share the Rose film and have hopefully in some theaters and get to see some people watching the film.
Well, I think that's just beautiful and something for sure to look forward to. So I toast to your continued success. I know
Thank
that everyone's going to absolutely love these films and just being engaged with plants in such a very, very intimate and very special way. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to talk with you, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today and share about more about Plant Pop.
thank you so much, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you.